G'day. This week I want to take you to a town where one of the most successful gold prospectors was a horse. I want to take you back in time and go searching for little trinkets of the late 1800s, and I want to take you to a place where water was probably more precious and more valuable than gold. So let's go. Back in the 1890s in Norseman, which is just up the road, they were selling water for 100 gallons would cost 25 shillings. But if you were really fussy, you could pay 1 shilling for 1 gallon, and that gave you really nice water. You probably weren't bathing in it, but it was pretty nice water. And yeah, so that really made the trade in water actually more exclusive than it was in gold. So for the young entrepreneurs, they had their little steaming containers, and they would boil up this water that came down, which is all a little bit yucky, get the steam off that. The steam would then drop into their containers, and then they would sell the containers as almost pure water. When you're in the area, you'll notice that there's not that much in the way of ancient timber, because they used up a massive amount to maintain this water for the goldfields. Over my shoulder is the dam wall that they built back in 1892, and it's still surviving, so that's something about their craftsmanship then. I'm standing in what would have been the old dam. Now this dam was used basically for the water resources back in the 1890s for the guys that come in on the gold rush, and the water would basically drop and fall on the rocks. They made some sort of a rough kind of channel. That channel for the water would run down through the channel and then just pour into here. And this is the water that was readily available. Obviously there's no taps, no pipes or anything. So it's really back in the old days. If you wanted water, you'd bring a bucket down here and take it back to your camp. So that really was roughing it. I'm standing in the middle of the old coach road, and I'd like you to imagine the coach coming along here. Lots of activity, people walking around, walking with their shovels, and people trying to come down here and get some water to go back and do some washing, only if you absolutely needed it. Definitely some water to drink. Must have tasted awful, probably got a lot of disease and so on and so forth. And amongst all that turmoil, you'd hear clippity-clop, 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 and the old coach would be working its way down this track. Let me take you to one of the channels that they had dug out, because I found some old tin and rusted old tin. Now I've no idea how old it is, but it looks pretty old, and I'm pretty sure it would have been one of the original gutters they made, which the water would flow off the rock, come down into one of these gutters, and then pour onto the next gutter, probably just pour straight across the road and eventually into the dam. So you can imagine the water would have been a little bit dodgy. Well, here I am. This is the man-made channel that they've dug out, and you see how close I am to the rocks over my shoulder here. Massive. That's just all basically one section of rock. The water will flow down there, run into the little channel, run down there, and we haven't come that far from the old coach road. Go down some other man-made channels, and it'll cross over the road into that dam. I've arrived in Norseman. As I was saying, I don't want to go on about it, but it is such a pivotal place, because people have come in from the Nullarbor, they've come down from Kalgoorlie, they've come up from Esperance, and people here might be going to any one of those destinations, so it's very hard to tell. BTW, there's lots of references for horses. There's horses symbolised on each street sign, and there's horses when you come in, so I need to find out what that's all about. You may find this a little hard to believe, but there's a guy called Laurie Sinclair. He's riding his horse through this area and getting on with it. Suddenly the horse becomes lame. Climbs off the horse, what's the chances? Climbs off the horse, lifts the leg up and finds in the hoof he's got a rock embedded. So Laurie pulls the rock out, turns out the rock is a gold nugget. So what happens then is obviously the horse is healed. Him and his mate go and do some exploration. They find the vein where this gold nuggets come from and start mining. Then a few other people find out about it and suddenly a gold rush. And then we form the town of, which is now known as, was renamed as Norseman after the name of the horse. So they actually named the town after the horse rather than the guy riding the horse. Great story. Well, here it is, the Statue of Norseman in the township of Norseman. They obviously think a lot of it. This was erected, I think, around about 1990. But this is basically the reason that Norseman got itself on the map. Well, here I am at a random place. It's a random lake near a not so random Norseman. And apparently, if you have a miner's permit, thank you, you're allowed to prospect on some places. You need to define where you're going, just make certain that it's not already a claim and you're not encroaching on anybody else. But the very generosity of the people from a chap in Norseman loaned me his metal detector, so let's see how good we go. Look at me, even if I don't find anything, I certainly look the part. Come on, let's go. Look, I found something. I think it's aluminum, but at least it works. Oh, I will take that rubbish away. I'm getting a reading. I better get a shovel and a big bucket to fill up all my gold. Going to show you down what they call an open stope, and well, I'll let the video do its talking. Here's a I reckon it's probably a wok, so you can see it. I've definitely got a distinct handle both sides, and yeah, I reckon it was a cooking wok. The other thing I found, for the lazy miner, when his lady friend would say, "Oh, go and have a shower, you stink," he would say, "I've got some powder," and this is basically a little powder bottle, powder tin, screw lid, which once screwed off, and you can see all the little tiny holes for putting the powder. Woohoo! Might invest in one myself. How's these little things, historical things? Part of an old shoe. And this one here I'm pretty sure is a tin of treacle. I'll bring it over and show you. So this I'm pretty sure is an old tin of treacle. And This could be the base for a bottle of olive oil. And this almost definitely is a little pouch for holding tobacco when the guys are rolling their own down by the mine. An old cricket pitch, late 1800s. Imagine the guys come down here. The Warnie of the late 1800s. Comes down with it. He's coming down with it. Full toss. Better brace yourself. That wouldn't have been too clever if I had have hit the tripod, or even worse, hit the camera. So yeah, late 1800s, that's how the boys would amuse themselves. And all around here, there was camps for the mining. Now what I'm about to tell you is not to offend. It actually is, has been confirmed by a couple of people, that the elders, the indigenous tribe, would say when they're describing to go on a hunting tour for the guys going out doing their finding some food, they would look out, they'd go past 2 or 3 female trees, and they would come to a distinct male tree, and then they would turn left, and that's the path they would go. This tree behind me is a female tree. Now, I don't know whether you can tell, I'll try and get a close-up of it. Basically this is the body, the head is down in the ground, these are the thighs coming up. I know you probably think, oh, Paul's been on the... but that is actually true. So check that out. And there's another type of tree, I'm going to try and find it. What they would do, again the Aboriginals, what they would do is they would put a rock in the middle here when the tree was quite young, and then what would happen was the tree would react, and instead of just going straight up and splitting, it would go up and split in a few ways, and then what would happen is the female Aboriginals would come and line it with clay. Then when it rained, they had a source of water when the guys are out foraging or out hunting for their food. So they would just have like a little basin there, and they would be told before they head off on the journey, again 3 female, 2 male, another female, and then you'll find a little, what we would call, I've referred to as like a little watering hole, and that would be enough water to keep them going on their trip. Absolutely incredible. The Nudju tribe, which lived around this area, called this tree the Wunyu, and they're calling the Wunyu as a female tree. As I was saying before, these are the legs and the female is headed down. And what they would do is they would, when it was quite young, this tree, they would put rocks in there so the tree, instead of going straight up, would start splitting and growing in the splits. And then, I've already described it, the Aboriginal women would then come and layer it with clay, and then when it rained, they'd have a little water source for the guys when they were out getting the animals, getting the food for dinner. Well, there you have it. If you've just crossed the Nullarbor, or if you're going to go across the Nullarbor, or if you've come up from Esperance or going down to Esperance, or if you're going up to Kalgoorlie or just come back from Kalgoorlie, you will end up in this great little town called Norseman. Spend a couple of days, check it out, it really has a lot to offer. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, and if you think it's worth sharing, please do. Until next time, this is Paul Wheel Drive, signing off.